Alright, so now we're going to talk about arrays.
Yes, there are many different kinds of arrays, and as this shows here, arrays are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So no matter what kind of array that you use, it's going to be awesome. I promise you that.
An array.
An
What the hell
array.
is an array?
Well, an array can be explained. It's kind of a little bit easier to see it, but an array could just be basically like a giant index. An array is going to have an index number, and it's going to have a piece of data. And every single thing inside of an array is called an element. So I think the easiest way to demonstrate what an array is to show you what an array is. Now, an array is just like any other kind of variable where it has data types. It could be an array of integers. It could be an array of floats, strings.
So in other words, it's just a list of, let's say if it's in an integer, it's just a list of integers, however long we want it to be.
Right.
Stored as one variable.
So let's do the integer example. Actually, let's do a string example real quick.
Okay.
So the way I would declare a string array is just like I was declaring a string. So let me just do that. String, and we'll call this array. It could be anything. Like, this is just the name of the array. This is just the name of the string. So I could have like string A, string B, string C, string anything. As long as there's no spaces, or as long as it doesn't start with a number. So you would agree that this is how you would say string array, right? Like, now we're declaring a string, and we're calling it array.
Alright, so that's just for a string.
Right. Now, the only difference between that and an array is this. And this is a one-dimensional array.
Uh-huh.
Now, inside this is going to be a number. And this number is a constant. So it has to be constant in there. So every single time that you declare an array at execution time, in memory, there is space set aside for this array.
Right, so this number here that we're going to put in these brackets is how long this list is going to be, or how long this array is going to be.
So what if I did 5?
Okay, so it's going to store 5 string variables in the array.
Now, there's something that you also have to kind of get used to with arrays, and that is how it counts.
The index number.
The index number starts with 0, not 1. So if you wanted to print out everything in this array, you would print out everything from 0 to 4.
Right, not 1 through 5.
Right. If you did 1 through 5, you would actually get an error when you tried to print out 5 because you're overstepping the bounds of the array. So, having that said, there are different ways that you can put data into an array. And I'm going to go with one of the simplest. And I'm just going to bring this down to 3 just for space purposes. I can do equals and just do 2 curly braces, just like a block of code. And just like a block of code, you could actually put this down here. You can make a list. It doesn't really matter. But for our purposes, we're going to make it look all nice and pretty. Stick it right there. So inside here, what I would do is this is array element 0, comma, array element 1, comma, array element 2. So if I printed this array out, it would print out nothing.
So
the easiest way to print out an array is using a loop of some kind, and the most commonly used is a for loop. So if we were to do something along these lines, like for int I equals 0, well, I is less than 3, I plus plus. All right, Bri.
So now we're going to output the array, and then in the braces, like we had before, we're going to say which index number we're going to output. So in this case, we're going to output I. So first we'll output index 0, then index 1, then index 2, and then we'll stop the loop.
Right. So
now let's put some words into the array just so we can, see.
First, let's have it print out with nothing.
Okay.
So we'll compile this. We'll save it as array 1. So you can see that there are 3 spaces here. So it prints out 3 elements. These elements just happen to equal nothing, because in the beginning we declared it to be nothing. So now we can type within these parentheses a string.
So let's say we wanted to have a list of cars.
Okay.
So let's do like an Explorer, a Sophia, and a NSX.
NSX. Okay. So now in array element 0, that will equal the word Explorer. And then down the line, this will be array element 1. This will be array element 2. So now when we print out this array, we should get it in this order. Let's try that. F9, chablank.
There we go.
Pretty nice.
Yeah.
Arrays are actually incredibly useful. And I wish we had a more useful one here.
Well, sure. I mean, if you wanted to keep track of your cars, I mean, you got the gas guzzling off the road car that doesn't do too well off the road.
Mm.
You got the gas saving car that's affordable, doesn't save a lot of gas.
Right.
And then you have the sports car on the weekends.
There you go.
Right.
I think you definitely hit it right on the head. So that's a basic introduction. Now I want to do another example. And I'm going to erase all of this. And we're going to do an integer array. I'm going to give this a different name just so that you don't think that you have to call it array. We will just call this num. And this is going to be a one-dimensional array. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to declare the size of the array. And it has to be a constant, and it also has to be an integer. And we will do 50. And right here, I'm sorry, I have to give it a name, don't I? We'll do all caps MAX, and we'll make that equal 50.
So that's the max array size.
Right. So we'll do max. So we have to make sure that it's a constant integer, because this is of constant size. It's not dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we have the integer max initialized, we can actually set values to it. Like we could do something like this. We could do num 0 equals, let's say, 5. Or we could do num 1 equals 20. We can do that.
That would take a while to do 50 of them.
Right, so why don't we just do something a little bit more good? We're going to close this. And we're going to do our little friend. And what are we going to do here? What if we did a mod?
Okay.
That way we can get like a semi-mix of numbers. So, I'm sorry, we'll do num I. So it's going to run through each element and assign it I
Mod 3.
mod 3.
And then we'll do another for loop to print these out.
So I'm going to copy this exact same loop here and put it right down here. The only thing different is I'm going to erase equals because we're not assigning it anything. We're just doing what?
See it? I'll see how it looks.
All right.
Beautiful.
All right. So we got
012, 012, 012.
Yeah, we have a nice little pattern there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like that?
It's mod 3.
It's mod 3. So these are basically all indexed. We could even take it one step further, and I promise this will be the end. We'll make the max 10.
And then we'll also, when we output the number mod something, we will also output the index value.
Right. So
we'll do a output I.
So here's how we'll do this. We'll do cout. We'll do not like the name of the array, open curly brace, and then a variable I,
Mm-hmm.
and
the
then
curly brace.
close curly brace, and then space equals.
Uh-huh. All right.
All right.
So now you'll see the index value as well as what it ends up being.
Right.
So you should see 0 through 9 since it's a size 10 array.
Mm-hmm.
And 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2 since, 3 mod 3 is 0, 6 mod 3 is 0, and so on.
Right. So get comfortable with this concept. We're going to come back and we're going to start talking about multi-dimensional arrays.
Oh, yeah.